I wish I posted this video on Bitcoin and other cryptos a few weeks ago. I would have looked like a goddamn prophet. Now I look like some jerk off commenting after the fact. Hey everyone, welcome to Campbell's Coins. I've spent nearly 1 year working on this video, perhaps more time spent researching this topic than anything else. In this video, I'm going to give my thoughts on Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. I know what you're thinking. A Bitcoin video from a gold and silver bug. I'm sure that's going to be unbiased. Well, I'm going to try my darndest to make this as impartial and true as possible. I wanted to do this video because I've heard a lot of mixed information when it comes to cryptocurrencies, and I wanted to learn for myself, like, what are cryptocurrencies? How does one get cryptocurrencies? Like, what's the deal here? Did I have a bias to them because I heard somebody else say that they were bad? And so I went into the research and I looked into things to see if those claims were true or if they were false. And so I'm going to present all that stuff to you here. So we're going to look over the good, the bad, and the ugly about Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. There's going to be some anger, there's going to be some confusion in this video, but that's okay. We'll hold hands, sing kumbaya, and we should get through it together. Coming up. The problem with talking about certain topics is vested interest. Some people have a vested interest in some inanimate objects, and when one speaks ill of said objects, the other person becomes butthurt because they have tied their self-worth to said object. Whether that's gold or Bitcoin, Ford or Chevy, Pepsi or Coke, or politics. The list is endless, the butthurt is endless. With that said, these are my thoughts and mine alone. I certainly don't want anyone to believe that they are being attacked. If I get something incorrect, don't jump down my throat, just put the correction in the comments with a source. I don't mind being corrected as long as the correction isn't just someone else's opinion. Also, cryptocurrencies is a very expansive topic and not one that can be tackled in a single video. There are very knowledgeable folks out there who know a great deal more than me on this topic, but I'm going to do my best to present a good understanding of cryptocurrencies. Also, before I get started, this isn't a Bitcoin versus gold debate. I'm talking about the merits and downsides to Bitcoin and other cryptos, not how Bitcoin is better or worse than gold in some aspects. If you feel defensive watching this video, ask yourself why. I've noticed a lot of restlessness in the stacking community. I've seen stackers who are frustrated with gold and silver's performance, and they want to sell their positions in physical gold and silver and buy Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies, hoping to strike it rich quickly. There are channels with gold and silver in their name, and now all they talk about is cryptos. Not to denigrate, but I feel the majority of these people do not understand gold and silver's true value. If they did, they wouldn't sell physical precious metals to buy an asset you don't really hold. I know some people will say that they bought cryptos to flip for a larger position in physical gold and silver. Good for you. As long as you came out ahead, that's great. What is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is the first and most widely recognized cryptocurrency in the world, invented in 2009 by an unknown person or group of people using the name Satoshi Nakamoto. Its inception is quite interesting because it was brought online right as we were going through the start of the 2008 financial crisis. Its implementation was released as an open source software. Those with the know-how can create their own cryptocurrencies using the same software, and many have. There are currently over 10,000 different cryptocurrencies and tokens out there. According to Bitcoin.com, Bitcoin is a decentralized digital currency. I will go over in a little bit why this claim is false, that enables peer-to-peer exchange of value in the digital realm through the use of decentralized protocol, cryptography, and a mechanism to achieve global consensus on the state of a public transaction ledger called blockchain. As the name implies, blockchain is a linked body of data made up of units called blocks that contain information about each and every transaction, including date and time, total value, buyer and seller, and a unique identifying code for each exchange. These entities are strung together in chronological order, creating a digital chain of blocks. Once a block is added to the blockchain, it becomes accessible to anybody who wishes to view it, acting as a public ledger of cryptocurrency transactions. How do you mine Bitcoin? Bitcoin is created as a reward of mining. Bitcoin is mined from a block when extremely complex mathematical equations are solved by a computer, or in the case of today, a farm of computers. Miners release 6.25 Bitcoins per block mined. There's only 21 million Bitcoin to mine, and 18.6 million Bitcoins have been mined so far. You'd think that the last Bitcoin would be mined relatively soon, considering more than 85% of it is in circulation, but that is not the case. Current estimates peg the last Bitcoin to be mined in 2140. This is due to Bitcoin halving. Every 4 years or so, the amount of Bitcoin mined from a block is cut in half, doubling the time it takes to mine the same amount as it before the halving. The mathematical equations become harder and take longer to solve. Currently, miners release 6.25 Bitcoins per block. Before the last halving, it was 12.5 Bitcoins per block, and after the next halving in 2024, only 3.13 Bitcoins will be released for every block mined. How can you buy this? How can you buy cryptos? Well, you go through a brokerage, preferably not a shady one. These require you to supply your ID, your address, phone number, social security number, and everything else that standard brokerages require. You can keep your cryptos on one of these exchanges or transfer it to a cold storage wallet. If you're buying cryptos, I would recommend transferring to a cold storage wallet, as exchanges are vulnerable to being hacked, and you can lose what you own if you leave it there. There are other avenues which act as convenient exchanges like Robinhood and Venmo, but these are just like exchanges. You're leaving it with them. It's not going to be on a cold storage wallet. Perhaps the best thing about cryptos is their extremely limited supply that is depreciating every day. Depreciating because people forget their passwords and get locked out from accessing their holdings. Once they are locked out, it goes into the ether and cannot be accessed. I'm sure many of you have heard of the San Francisco programmer who lost track of his password to his crypto wallet, a wallet which holds over 7,000 Bitcoins, worth a little over $260 million. Ouch. It's estimated that 20% of the 18.6 million Bitcoins out there are lost. I'm sure that there is some software created by the government agencies to recover this Bitcoin, but I couldn't find sufficient evidence to report it as a fact. Bitcoin isn't regulated by most governments. Blockchain is decentralized, which means it is not controlled by any one organization. Imagine a Google Doc that anyone can view and work on. No one owns it, but anyone with a link can contribute to it. And as different people update it, your copy gets updated too. The codes to access are long random numbers, making them incredibly difficult to fraudulently produce. According to Brian Lottie of Crypto Aquarium, a fraudster guessing the key code to your Bitcoin wallet has roughly the same odds as someone winning the Powerball lottery 9 times in a row. The level of statistical randomness in blockchain verification codes, which are needed for every transaction, greatly reduces the risk anyone can make fraudulent Bitcoin transactions. It's extremely secure. There are cases where exchanges are hacked and Bitcoin and other crypto left on those exchanges have been taken, but this can be remedied by holding your crypto on a cold storage device. One can make large transactions with other individuals nearly anywhere there is electrical power and an internet connection in just a short amount of time, something that simply cannot be done with physical gold. Like other cryptos, a single Bitcoin can be divided into 100 million Satoshis or sats. This means people don't have to spend $33,000 to buy whole units of Bitcoin. Anyone can buy Bitcoin or other cryptos with a small amount of cash. Cryptocurrencies are a very safe way to store your wealth, and that your wealth can be safe from theft if stored on a cold storage wallet. Only those with the password to the cold storage wallet could access those cryptos. Unless someone threatened you or a loved one to give up the password, it would be impossible to access. Now for the bad. One of the upsides is also its downside, its limited supply. Let's say country X creates its own cryptocurrency, and let's call this cryptocurrency fake coin as a form of money. There is a limited supply like Bitcoin, 21 million fake coins. The population of country X will keep growing while fake coin will decrease as the years go on. Decrease because people will lose it. There's a depreciating money supply and an increasing population. Just from that, the price of fake coin will go up year after year. So every year it takes less fake coin to buy what you could the year before. People will hold on to their fake coin because the price of it will continually rise year after year. Why spend it on something when it'll be worth more the next year and the year after that? This is why I see Bitcoin like an asset similar to land. I don't see it as currency. Bitcoin and other cryptos are not as hidden as you might think. If you think you're getting an off-the-grid currency that is untraceable, you're sorely mistaken. One of the biggest lies I've heard from the crypto realm is cryptocurrencies are anonymous and untraceable. Even though the name suggests otherwise, that's not the case. The kid who hacked those Twitter accounts in 2017 and demanded payment via Bitcoin, yeah, they traced it and arrested him. The latest oil pipeline was hacked, shut down, and ransomed back for 90 million in Bitcoin, worth about half now since the crash. But time is only counting down for them to be found out. If you truly believe cryptocurrencies are untraceable, why would sovereign countries talk about moving to a digital currency? Central bank digital currencies are designed so they can track and trace every transaction everyone has and tax them accordingly. I recently put out a video explaining what CBDCs are coming for us and what they are designed to do. Buying and selling Bitcoin and other cryptos is much more invasive than most realize. When buying or selling crypto, you need a brokerage. When you set up your account with an exchange, you're giving them your social security number for verification and tax purposes. When you sell, you will need to pay taxes. You will be taxed heavily depending upon how much you made. You could pay as much as 39% in capital gains taxes. Most of you, though, will pay around 15% in capital gains. When you sell precious metals, you're supposed to disclose any gains with the IRS, but it's more of an honor system versus when you're dealing with an exchange, they file it on your behalf for their records too. There are sustainability issues when it comes to Bitcoin and other cryptos. One major drawback to cryptos is electricity. Some will argue that mining Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies is greener compared to gold. I'm not sure how that is measurable against gold. It's true. Gold is not a green metal. The earth is raped and pillaged for this metal. Environments are destroyed. But miners looking for gold are also getting other metals, so entire areas are not being destroyed for just one metal. In China and other places around the world, Bitcoin and other cryptos are mined by burning coal for electricity. This isn't very green or sustainable. It's true that some sustainably conscious countries and individuals are using solar and hydropower to mine cryptos, but very few people are talking about the increasing amount of energy it takes to mine just one Bitcoin. Cryptos are mined at the same pace. It takes one person the same amount of time to mine a Bitcoin as 100 people trying to mine it. The more people trying to mine a crypto, the harder the equation becomes to solve. This means more energy expenditure because more people are involved using their computers and servers. According to the Cambridge Center for Alternative Finance, Bitcoin currently consumes 110 terawatt hours per year. That is 0.55% of all global electricity production, or roughly the equivalent to the annual energy draw of small countries like Malaysia or Sweden. That's just for Bitcoin. Imagine what the energy uses for other cryptocurrencies are as well. Energy consumption is not equivalent to carbon emissions, but if China is mining 45% of all Bitcoins, we know that at least 45% of Bitcoin isn't mined in a sustainable manner. Crypto groups and miners are meeting to address the sustainability issue with mining cryptos and making them better. Some groups are proposing putting a tag on specific cryptos mined in a sustainable manner so people buying them know those units were mined in an environmentally conscious way. The other downside to Bitcoin in regards to electricity is it requires electricity to function and exist. It's not like there are constant power outages in first world nations like America, right? Oh wait, there are. Recently we saw this with Texas having their electrical systems collapse with the unseasonably freezing temperatures. As a Californian, I can tell you they shut off the power anytime we have high winds just to eliminate the chance of wildfire. But we also have blackouts in the summer from electrical usage just from trying to keep homes cool during the hot summer. What else kills power? Maybe the sun? Solar bursts are known to kill the electrical grid, and while it hasn't happened in a grand scale like the Carrington event in the 1800s, rest assured it will happen again and will devastate everyone reliant on electricity to live. The Carrington event was a powerful geomagnetic storm and occurred on September 1st and 2nd in 1859. The sun induced the largest geomagnetic storm on record here on Earth, creating strong auroral displays as far south as Cuba and knocking out most of the telegraph systems in Europe and North America. Some telegraph operators could continue to send and receive messages despite having disconnected their power supplies. The aurora's light was so bright, gold miners began preparing breakfast because they thought it was morning. One could see how an event like this could devastate our world today. Another threat comes from an EMP attack. These risks aren't decreasing as time goes on, but increasing. I want something that wouldn't be affected by a power outage. I will say this much. The odds of an EMP attack or a Carrington event in the next 50 years is much higher than the odds of mining an asteroid for precious metals, especially when no human has been past the moon. I have a lot of friends who buy and sell cryptos on exchanges, and for a lot of these lesser known coins, these exchanges require them to buy Bitcoin first, then exchange it for these lesser known coins. I don't know the reason behind it, but if most exchanges are requiring this and there are over 10,000 cryptos, coins, or tokens out there, it's not surprising that Bitcoin is doing well when everyone has to buy it to trade for the lesser known coins. Building on this number, there are over 10,000 cryptos, coins, and tokens out there, and it's growing. It's not like this 10,000 is all there will ever be, as the person next door creates a crypto in their garage. With so many people making altcoins, what really makes this unique or rare? Sure, these cryptos have a cap, maybe it's 21 million or 10 million, but there's still 10,000 variations of Bitcoin out there, and every day more and more cryptos will be created. Playing into what is in front of you, do a Google search for Bitcoin and look at the images. Nearly all of them show a gold coin with a B on the obverse. For a group that tries so hard to denounce gold, they certainly try to correlate images of gold coins with Bitcoin. See, these are the same. It's nothing more than marketing. If you're trying to impress the world with a new technology, why on earth would you make it analogous to an analog technology that you hate? We are seeing the ugly side of Bitcoin right now. It's highly volatile. It dropped nearly 40% in just a week's time. This is exactly why it can never be money. Would you want to spend it if you knew it would gain 40% value in a week? Would you want to hold any knowing it drops 40% value in a week? The answer to both is no. The US dollar doesn't even drop that much in a week, let alone 5 years. Along these lines is Bitcoin's performance when the economy crashes. The last time we saw it tank as much as this month was March 2020. True, all assets crash, and yes, it did come roaring back, but Bitcoin crashes when the economy isn't tanking, like December 2017. Many companies have bought into Bitcoin, Tesla being one of them. Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy is probably the best known, as they have gone all in with Bitcoin, making a fortune when the price rose quickly. But what most people seem to forget is companies are not people, and they can't hold on to depreciating assets forever because they have stockholders to appease. Companies are cowards with paper hands, as the kids like to say. Like it or not, if many companies own Bitcoin and Bitcoin starts to do bad, like we saw this last week, they are going to start selling off their portions. This sell-off will trigger more selling of Bitcoin and dramatically lower prices. This exact thing happens with stocks when companies switch to more liquid assets like cash. Sure, there will be companies who will hodl to zero, but 99% will dump Bitcoin when it isn't performing well. Does a stable asset fall in price quickly after a high-profile individual speaks out against it? The answer, of course, is rhetorical. Another ugly is the claim or lies about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. The first is that Bitcoin is decentralized. This is patently false. There are currently 18.6 million Bitcoins mined. 20% of these have been lost due to forgetfulness. This leaves 14.8 million Bitcoins available to trade. Except that is not the case. 87% of this 14.8 million is owned by 0.5% of all Bitcoin holders. Let me repeat that. 0.5%. Half of a percent own the majority of Bitcoin. Does that seem decentralized to you? It doesn't to me. Sure, there is a fixed, incredibly small amount of Bitcoin, but who cares when a small group owns a majority of it? Did you see that big sell-off of Bitcoin at the beginning of May? Do you know what brought that on? It was a power outage in China. People saw the hash rate drop dramatically. When it was discovered that 45% of the mining of Bitcoin is happening in China, it triggered a sell-off, falling from 60,000 to 52,000. Is that decentralized when one country is mining nearly half of all the Bitcoin in the world? Is it sustainable when most of these miners are using coal power to mine said Bitcoin? Another note on the incorruptible Bitcoin. Did anyone else find it odd all the exchanges suddenly closed down when Bitcoin price was falling a couple weeks ago? All of them at the same time. What does that remind me of? Maybe the plunge protection team to stop trading when the stock market falls? Or Robinhood not allowing anyone to buy a position in GameStop so it wouldn't hurt their parent company, Citadel? The hedge fund who owned all of those shorts of GameStop and brought the Wall Street Bets group into the limelight? This is clear manipulation. How much can one withdraw from exchanges? Did you know there is a really low limit? If you plan on cashing in on your gains, you should definitely look at your exchange to see what the limits are to getting cash per day. All exchanges are different, but on average I have found is $10,000 per day. Knowing this amount and knowing how quickly Bitcoin and other cryptos can plummet in a short amount of time is actually really funny. It shows you a lot of people are bailing every single day. Imagine how much further these coins would fall if there wasn't a withdrawal limit. This could also be viewed as another form of manipulation, but I digress. In 1996, the NSA released a white paper titled How to Make a Mint: The Cryptography of Anonymous Electronic Cash. And what do you know, 12 years later during the 2008 economic meltdown, Bitcoin was released. Some might call this a coincidence, and maybe it is. But after knowing cryptos are trackable, do you really think it's just a coincidence? Maybe it is, but after what I've seen since 2008, I find it more likely that they are trying to get more people comfortable with a digital currency for when they implement their central bank digital currency, something that they are doing later this year. The NSA aspect of this is speculation on my part, so I won't dive into it further. I just found it curious. Bitcoin and other cryptos have never really been tested in a recession or depression. When an economic collapse happens, what do you think will happen to Bitcoin and the rest? Will they go up in price like gold does, or will they collapse in price? In an economic collapse, everything falls in price, including gold. But the assets which recovered quickest is precious metals. We have seen this happen over and over again with gold and silver. When the lockdowns hit, we saw an exodus from the cryptos falling over 70% in value. One of the problems I have with Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies is its supporters only talk about the positive side of them and never speak about the negative side. That's dishonest, and it shows you that they're scared. Scared they won't be able to convince you to get on the money train if you know its downsides. Why can't they just be honest? I can fully admit gold has numerous downsides. Maybe some diehard gold bugs can't admit these things, but I can. Just as I can see the positives Bitcoin has to offer and the positives gold has to offer. Gold and silver bugs talk about the pros and cons to the metals. To Bitcoiners, they avoid talking about negatives, and there are some huge drawbacks. I use the word dishonest because I struggle with how else to explain it. Either Bitcoin supporters are ignorant about the drawbacks to Bitcoin and other cryptos, which is scary, or they do know about the drawbacks but don't share this with folks because they want to draw in more suckers into the market. To build on this point, if it isn't evident to you, check out the comments in this video. You'll see a lot of spam comments telling people to buy cryptos and how so-and-so made them money. These comments will have 30 to 40 likes and about the same amount in replies. If crypto is so good, why do folks have to use these tactics? If you speak out against Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies, the Bitcoiner will say, "Oh, you just don't understand," or "I'm sorry you're scared of technology." First of all, I find it funny that when you point out the problems to crypto or speak out against it, one of the first things these people do is insult you. It's very interesting and telling. Second, I stack gold and silver. I completely understand a decentralized, limited money supply. I understand Bitcoin's purpose as well as its advantages over gold and silver, and there are a few that I've mentioned. Third, I'm not a Luddite. I'm open to good technology, just not corrupt technology. And maybe Bitcoin is not corrupt, but it's the people who hold it. When 0.5% own the majority of Bitcoin, that is not decentralized to me. Bitcoin, along with all the other cryptocurrencies, is the new technology on the block. And like all technology, it gets replaced with something better in a few years. Just like the DVD replaced the VCR. DVDs did everything a VCR could do, but provided better quality viewing experience. The same will happen with Bitcoin, and people will abandon it for the new, better version. In fact, it's already happened. There are already better cryptos out there with better features, better privacy, faster transfer speeds, and they're produced with less energy. One of my favorite things is seeing these crypto memes from people. The same people showing you technology improves think Bitcoin is the best and won't be replaced. It's like saying the Model T is the best car simply because it was the first. It's a ludicrous argument. Michael Saylor talking about Bitcoin as this immortal dragon moving at light speed is nothing more than a used car salesman trying to get some sucker to buy in. If your product is good, you don't need to overhype it, nor do you need to shy away from its faults. We've explored the positives to cryptos, but I feel the downsides, its volatility, trackable, not rare or unique, not decentralized, taxable, high energy consumption, far outweigh its positives. I'm more of an analog guy, and I feel more comfortable with the secure and, most importantly, the privacy of gold and silver. I'm not 100% negative on Bitcoin or the other cryptos. I'm just tired of the lies and the misinformation perpetrated by the crypto community. They stay silent because it helps their cause to bring more people in. I view Bitcoin as an asset, like land or fine art. It's not a currency. It won't be used as money. Its price ebbs and flows too much. Do I own Bitcoin or other cryptos? Not at this time. Will I own them at some point? I won't say never, but I'm very apprehensive of it. Its volatility, and to be honest, I'm not psyched about giving some exchange my private info so I can start buying the stuff. As we have seen, everything can be hacked, including these exchanges. I think blockchain is a revolutionary technology that has many uses beyond Bitcoin. It's a technology concept that has been around for a while and will be around for quite some time. I know Bitcoin and other cryptos are better in some ways to our fiat currency, and this is something both the precious metals and crypto communities can find commonality with. If you're interested in other topics like this one, check out the other videos I have on my channel discussing gold and silver and how they can help you preserve and protect your wealth. If you made it this far in the video, you guys and gals are my super stackers, and I appreciate you. Thank you all for watching. This is Campbell's Coins, and that is my 2 cents.